2 is A. Vector, B. Scalar, C. Depend on direction, D. None. The correct answer is scalar. End-fire array has narrow bandwidth. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is true. Which of the following antenna is best guided by a waveguide? A. Biconical, B. Horn, C. Helical, D. Dish. The correct answer is horn. Pointing vector is the rate of energy flow having A. Wm2, B. Wm, C. kWhs, D. Wm. The correct answer is Wm2. Refraction of electromagnetic waves occurs when they A. pass through a small slot in a conducting plane, B. pass into a medium of different dielectric constant, C. are polarized at right angles to the direction of propagation, D. encounter a perfectly conduction surface. The correct answer is pass through a small slot in a conducting plane. The impedance inversion may be objected with A. short-circuited stub, B. an open-circuited stub, C. a half-wave line, D. a quarter-wave line. The correct answer is a quarter-wave line. The force acting on a charge q moving with velocity in a region of electric field and magnetic field is A. Rx, B. Qx, C. Qx, D. Q. The correct answer is Qx. An electromagnetic wave incidence on a perfect insulator at an angle. If the wave is not entirely parallel polarized, then A. the reflected wave will be entirely polarized parallel to the plane of incidence, B. there will be no reflection, C. the reflected wave will be entirely polarized perpendicular to the plane of incidence, D. any of the above. The correct answer is the reflected wave will be entirely polarized perpendicular to the plane of incidence. Coaxial cables can be used for which frequency? A. 15 kHz, B. 10 MHz, C. 200 MHz, D. 2000 MHz. The correct answer is 200 MHz. In order to receive a vertical polarized wave, the conductor of the dipole should be mounted A. horizontally, B. vertically, C. at an angle of 45, D. at an angle of 90. The correct answer is vertically. VSWR can have any value between A. 0 and 1, B. 1 to 1, C. 0 to, D. 1 to. The correct answer is 1 to. The input impedance for folded dipole antenna to half dipole is A. 73 N2, B. 377 N2, C. 73 N, D. 377 N. The correct answer is 73 N2. Capacitance hats are installed on low-frequency antennas. A. increase the electrical length, B. reduce the electrical length, C. protect against lightning, D. protect against corona effects. The correct answer is increase the electrical length. A ship-to-ship communication system is plagued by fading. The best solution seems to be the use of A. space diversity, B. frequency diversity, C. a broadband antenna, D. a more directional antenna. The correct answer is frequency diversity. If a wave is propagated in free space, it will be in nature of A. TE, B. trademark, C. TEM, D. any one of above. The correct answer is TEM. When the height of a vertical earthed antenna is less than 4, A. the base input impedance will be capacitive, B. the base input impedance will be purely resistive, C. the base input impedance will be inductive, D. the base input impedance will be negligibly small. The correct answer is, the base input impedance will be capacitive. Which of the following is a circularly polarized antenna? A. Rhombic. B. Circular loop. C. Helical. D. Yardé. The correct answer is helical. Television signals are propagated as ground waves. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. The current distribution along a traveling wave antenna can be written in the form A. Fz F0 EJZ. B. Fz F0 sin Z. C. Fz F0. D. Fz F0 cos TZ. The correct answer is Fz F0 cos TZ. The characteristic impedance of lossless transmission line is A. LR. B. LC. C. 1 LC. D. CL. The correct answer is LC. For a hollow waveguide, the axial current must necessarily be A. Combination of conduction and displacement current. B. Conduction current only. C. Time varying conduction current and displacement current. D. Displacement current only. The correct answer is displacement current only. Industrial heating furnaces such as arc and induction furnaces operate on power factor A. Low leading. B. Low lagging. C. High leading. D. Very low lagging. The correct answer is very low lagging. The magnetic field due to current I equals A. I2PR. B. I4PR. C. I22PR. D. I24PR. The correct answer is I2PR. VLF is generally used for A. Telegraphy. B. Satellite communication. C. Instrument landing system. D. All of the above. The correct answer is telegraphy. In electromagnetic wave, polarization is caused by A. Refraction. B. Reflection. C. Longitudinal nature of electromagnetic waves. D. Transverse nature of electromagnetic waves. The correct answer is transverse nature of electromagnetic waves. In a rectangular waveguide, if operating frequency is greater than cutoff frequency, then propagation constant is A. Purely real. B. Purely imaginary. C. Equal to unit. D. A complex number. The correct answer is purely imaginary. Isotropic radiator is one that radiates energy A. Uniformly in all direction. B. Inside a hollow sphere. C. In a well-defined isotropic direction. D. None of the above. The correct answer is uniformly in all direction. The number of lobes on each side of a 31 resonant antenna will be A2, B3, C4, D6. The correct answer is 6. Analysis of EM wave in waveguide based on A. Circuit theory. B. Field theory. C. Optical theory. D. Both A and B. The correct answer is field theory. The main difference between the broadside arrays and end-fire arrays is that A. Individual elements are fed with same current in broadside arrays and of different magnitude in end-fire arrays. B. In broadside arrays the elements are equidistant, whereas in end-fire array the distance between elements increases progressively. C. The total number of elements in broadside array is always 1.5 times that of elements in end-fire arrays. D. In broadside array the individual elements are fed in out of phase by 180, whereas in end-fire array individual elements are fed with currents of equal magnitude, but their phases vary progressively along the line in such a way as to make the entire arrangement substantially unidirectional. The correct answer is In broadside array the individual elements are fed in out of phase by 180, whereas in end-fire array individual elements are fed with currents of equal magnitude but their phases vary. The charges between a hollow and solid metal spheres reside A. throughout in both, B. on outer surface in hollow and throughout in solid, C. on the outer surface in both, D. none of the above. The correct answer is on the outer surface in both. Maximum usable frequency is F muff. A. Fc sec I, B. Fc cos I, C. Fc sin I, D. Fc sec I. The correct answer is Fc sec I. During daytime ionosphere consists of A. DEF2 layers, B. DEF layers, C. DE floor 1 floor 2 layer, D. none. The correct answer is DE floor 1 floor 2 layer. To couple a coaxial line to a parallel wire line it is best to use A. balun, B. slotted line, C. quarter wave transformer, D. directional coupler. The correct answer is balun. Which of the following is to length? A. Marconi, B. Hertz, C. parabolic, D. Yada. The correct answer is Hertz. Which of the following is the main difference between waveguide and transmission line? A. waveguides cannot be coupled to coaxial lines, B. waveguides have no standing wave ratio, C. transmission line does not suffer from the effect of low cut-off frequency, D. waveguides are not distributed like transmission lines. The correct answer is transmission line does not suffer from the effect of low cut-off frequency. Surface impedance at high frequencies is a consideration for A. ferrites, B. semiconductors, C. good conductors, D. dielectrics. The correct answer is good conductors. In a uniform plane wave E and H are related by A. EH1, B. EH, C. EH, D. none of the above. The correct answer is EH. Antenna beamwidth is A. measure of directivity, B. measure of angle, C. measure of radiation pattern, D. measure of power pattern. The correct answer is measure of directivity. The pure capacitor connected across an AC voltage consumed 20 watts. This is due to A. the capacitive reactance in ohms, B. the current flowing in the capacitor, C. the fused capacitor was a big one, D. none of the above. The correct answer is none of the above. A dominant wave is characterized by which of the following? A. no attenuation, B. lowest cut-off wavelength, C. highest cut-off wavelength, D. all of the above. The correct answer is highest cut-off wavelength. The cut-off wavelength C for TE20 mode for a standard rectangles waveguide is A to A, B to A, C A, D to A2. The correct answer is A. F2 layer of atmosphere extends from A 250 km to 400 km, B 150 km to 250 km, C 50 km to 150 km, D 15 km to 50 km. The correct answer is 250 km to 400 km. Whereas resonant antenna is bidirectional, non-resonant antenna is unidirectional. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. In radar system, if the antenna diameter is increased by a factor of 4, the minimum range will increased by a factor of A1, B2, C22, D4. The correct answer is 4. Which of the following antennas is for length? A. Dipole. B. Marconi. C. Monopole. D. Parabolic. The correct answer is Dipole.